Hey, welcome to another amazing day as a supervisor. I'm Elsie Barnett, your friendly corporate trainer. Being an amazing supervisor requires that you are a great communicator. That has to do with more than just talking. It has to do with the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And you might say, but I can read, I can write. But have you mastered the skill in being effective that your team will be able to do tasks which were assigned by upper management? So let's do listening. That's the first one we'll think about. So listening is a skill, which means that you must practice. Many times we hear persons talking, but we are not really listening to what they're saying. So the first thing that you must do as an effective communicator is pay attention. Now this requires that you look at the person, not intensely like staring, but you must maintain eye contact. Now by looking directly at your speaker, it shows that you are engaged and that you are actually understanding what is being said. Now while you are looking at your person, be sure that you don't put your eyes all over the place, but you are steady and direct. This builds a level of confidence and harmony as the speaker talks with you. Another thing that you must do to show that you are listening is that you can actually nod occasionally. Not nod, but nod occasionally. And by doing this at a timely manner, it simply means that you are actually listening and taking in all that is being said. Nodding shows agreement and nodding shows understanding. Now, one thing that you must do is that you have to clear your head of all distractions. Sometimes when persons are talking, we already have preconceived or we wrote the summary of a rebuttal. That's not effectively listening. What you need to do is listen, and at the end, then you may ask questions, just in case you're not too clear on what was said. That is called providing feedback. So feedback may be asking, were you saying this? Or am I to understand? So by using phrases like those, it shows that you're asking for clarity. One thing that you should never do is interrupt someone while they're speaking. Now, that can be very rude. And sometimes when we're listening, we may feel that the person is going on and on as if they will never stop. What you can do though, is that you may need to ask questions to cut some conversations a little bit shorter, but you have to be respectful when you're doing it. So for example, if an employee comes and they're complaining that somebody's not doing the task that they're supposed to do, instead of listening to a very long story, ask specific questions. For example, who is the person to which you have the issue with? What were they not doing? By asking and phrasing these questions, we cut down the number of time that is spent with very long stories. So that is effective listening. Another thing that you must be able to do is speaking. Now, many supervisors shy away from a presentation. Verbal skills are very important in being effective as a supervisor. You must know how to talk. Perhaps you won't have to give a speech or be an orator, but you must be able to translate to upper management issues that you're having. Because when you go to meetings, you must talk. You cannot be the mute in the corner or that quiet mouse that no one hears, or you merely whisper. You have to speak clearly. Therefore, it is important that you practice. Remember, speaking is actually a skill. Now, what you must do is that it's best that you convey one idea at a time. So if there are a list of things that you have to say, start off with one idea. Then when you would have verbalized it, ensure that you use words that everyone is familiar with. So in your department, there are certain terms that they may not understand, like jargons. So ensure that when you're speaking, you eliminate all jargons, all acronyms, and speak simply and clearly that persons can understand. Remember, never ever suffer clarity for brevity. Another thing that you have to do when you speak, for example, I have a speech impediment. I stutter a lot. So what I have to do is that I had to get training in understanding how to speak clearly without stuttering. So if you have a speech impediment or you think you need a speech coach, now would be the perfect time to get a trainer or a mentor to help. Now, in speaking, you have to be mindful of your tone. It is always said, it was never what you said, it was how you said it. So you have to ensure that you undulate your tone. So when you are reprimanding, and of course remember, never reprimand in public, always in private. And should you reprimand in private, ensure that your speech is free of all expletives and all things that are derogatory in terms. So as you speak, if you have to be stern, then it is required that your tone is stern. However, for all other times, ensure that your tone is one that is welcoming. It is said that supervisors who are very harsh in speech and in tone usually create a drift and a rift in their department. So remember, be kind. Allow your words to be seasoned like honey, that it will stick and create a glue in your department. Writing is a skill that you must master in order to be effective as a supervisor. Now, writing takes into play more than just texting, scribbling something on paper. There has to be some level of business communication that has to be done. For example, in your department, there are different business documents that you would have to create. That includes memos, agendas, reports, all the works. It varies. What must be done is that you must master how writing is done. So ensure that you spend time perfecting grammar, perfecting punctuation, and perfecting the correct medium by which you use to send messages out. So if you have a department that is deficient in internet, it is not effective that you use emails because no one will have access to it. Or if it's a case where everybody has to get some important information right now, a memo or a notice will be perfect. So remember these tiny rules as you write. 1. Never write in cap lock unless you are trying to show attention to something. Only bold letters when you want emphasis to be given to what is said. Never use very small fonts that persons who have varying disabilities may have an issue seeing. Ensure that you do not use reds or blues or yellow because when shown on paper, they can create a little problem. So if you're not confident in how you write, ensure that you have your work being read over by someone else who is competent in the area. And as you do this, ensure that you too become trained in being perfect in writing. Reading is a skill that you must perfect as an exceptional supervisor. It's more than merely recognizing words on paper or on screen. It means that based on the words when put together, you are able to extract from it the meaning and the concepts. Therefore, you must be able to proofread quickly, scan through documents, and take from it what upper management requires that your department do. So you must be able to reveal what is there. You must be able to review and also remind. So the moment you have taken the information from the paper, you must be able to remind yourself what was there that you can better communicate these to your department or to upper management. So remember, these communication skills that you must have is effective listening, effective speaking, effective reading, and effective writing.